urgency in the language that I've ever seen in 25 previous COPs. A language that expresses more urgency, more alarm, utmost concern. It feels to me like it's mirroring the language that was also much more urgent of the IPCC first working group that came out just a few months ago. And that's a good thing because policy should follow science. Also excellent that this text recognizes that we're in the critical decisive decade and that we have to halve emissions by 2030.
Adaptation really had a moment at this COP because really the vulnerable countries have been coming back to the table and saying, we are really hurting. Climate change is happening now. People in our country are losing their lives, they're losing their property, and we need to access proper finance in order to enable us to adapt. And the 100 billion, the famous 100 billion that was the original deal for bringing everybody to the table as a collective effort still hasn't been delivered. And yet those countries are being asked to come back to the table with more commitments to cut their emissions. So my reading of this is it was a bit of a mixed bag.
Countries of the North are not doing their job. They're still seeing it as opposed to their interest to support adaptation for developing countries. That is the wrong interpretation. I thought it was a brilliant move to come off of the annual and say, no, not once a year, by 2022. I thought that was a brilliant move on their part, and it stuck.
Now's the time when we're all on the same agenda, and there must be rapidly facilitated cooperation to make sure that this deviation that we wouldn't tolerate for a minute on COVID, where we grounded all the airlines and the police told you to stay in your homes, that level of discipline is brought to this far larger problem, frankly. So yes, I'm all in for everybody understanding that we're just going to get this done.